Hi everybody and welcome back to The Morning Rant, or welcome to The Morning Rant, the show in which I talk about whatever I want to talk about while I telecommute from my home to the office. But today is Sunday and I have to go to the supermarket buying a lot of Coca-Cola and Fanta for a lot of children that will be attending to a party. Something like this. But today I want to talk about this new app I'm trying. It's the new Blackmagic app for iPhone, and I just want to say one thing. Thank you fucking ducking very much. That was actually the app that I needed. That was the app that everybody needed in the iOS ecosystem. It's wonderful, it's perfect. I cannot express with my words what I'm feeling, but finally I have a real powerful camera that I can use for not only for this video blogging I do, but for all the jobs that I will take starting now up to the end of the year. I will produce 3 TV commercials, one for Italy and one for Bulgaria, I think, and that is very super fucking awesome. I know that I promised myself not to use the F word, but to use the D word, ducking. But today I'm so excited that I'm so freaking and ducking excited that I broke my vow. Today I want to talk about one thing that I do, that I started doing in my own production starting the beginning of 2023. I started using a digital speaker. It means that I type the text that I want to be spoken, and then instead of using a real human voice actor, I use a digital voice actor. More precisely, the digital voice actors provided by Microsoft, by Azure. I think that Azure's digital speakers are the most valuable if you balance quality and price. I think that they are very inexpensive, and the quality they provide is quite high. I started using them as a substitution of my voice for tutorials because you're listening to me. I'm a very bad speaker, especially in English. And so I think that if you compare a digital voice actor with a real human voice actor, the real human voice actor is always better, is always winning. But if you compare this digital voice actor with me, the digital voice actor is winning, is better. And so I started using these digital voice actors for all my productions and for the promo videos I produce for my products. I never used the speaker because there were no budget for it. I always use superimposed text, and I hate superimposed text because, okay, you can write whatever you want, but then the attention of the audience have to be split. And then so I started doing a text, a claim, a payoff, and then showing what the payoff is saying. And so videos started to become longer, and this is very bad for the marketing, because you have to keep everything under 50 seconds. You know that? I used to prefer to use both the channels of the audio, spoken audio and video, because you can communicate 2 things at once. And in this way, using a digital audio voice actor, I started doing this thing. It's perfect? No. It's valuable? Yes. And I love it. So I want to show you the last promo video that I produced. I produced this video to promote the new features for Transcriber, my app, that I launched in September 2023. So please have a look at this video.
Altai.media is proud to unveil the September 2023 release update of Transcriber, the powerful text transcription app from audio and video to generate subtitles and transcripts. In this new version, the main feature is batch transcription. Drag all the files you want to transcribe, or even whole folders, select the language and format, set where the files should be saved and with which name, for the whole batch or even for each individual file, and press start. Transcription will take place in the background, ideal for those with many files to process. The September 2023 release of Transcriber also allows you to retain the timecode of the source movie, for better synchronization of subtitles and RTF files generated. Control over the minimum length of a sentence has also been introduced, in order to filter out as much as possible any hallucinations of the artificial intelligence. Finally, Transcriber, in order to increase speed, no longer allows the use of only OpenAI's Whisper's large model for transcription, but also medium and small, with an increase in transcription speed of up to 6 times. The September 2023 release of Transcriber is a free update and is distributed exclusively by FX Factory. Find out more at ulti.media/transcriber.
You like it, you don't like it. I think that it is not perfect, but it's sufficient. You become wiser when you think that the perfect is the enemy of the good. And so I think this is good enough for my purposes. I started developing this app in February 2023 because before I was using the online service from Microsoft Azure, but it wasn't very handy because I was typing in the browser and then recording the audio from the computer. It was a pain in the you know what. And then I had a look at the documentation of the APIs for Microsoft Azure voice services, and it was quite good and quite easy to use it. And so I started developing a very minimal viable product to be used internally in my company. The first version, yes, could split the sentences one by one, and so you can digital speak one sentence per time. But at the very beginning, I started developing a two-way of doing stuff, because I have a text field in which I type the text I want to speak, and then I added another text layer with the correct pronunciation. You know, if you are in an English country, there's no need for this. But if in Italian, there's a lot of words that you can pronounce in different ways. So you have to manually type the accent, or sometimes you have to type the correct pronunciation of the words if you're trying to speak another language word or sentence. And then I started developing a much thicker layer that separates user interface, business logic, and audio services from Microsoft. Because I wanted to have the possibility to choose from many different languages and voices, and a lot of utilities that can be used to do the correct way of doing stuff. One of the first things that I developed is the possibility to add different takes for the single sentence. And so you can change the mood, the tone of voice, or the pronunciation of something. And so you can decide which is the best take, just like you will do with a human voice actor. And then I started using regularly for my job. I did a very big job in Florence some months ago, in which I have to speak different sentences in different languages, something like a dozen languages. And I needed to group all this stuff. And so I started developing a new layer of this app. And so now you have a project in which you can choose the country of the voice and then the gender. Your soul, not 2023, because you have to choose between male and female. And then for each gender, you have different voices. And for each voice, you can have different styles. You have neutral, you have chat, you have newscaster, you have enthusiastic, you are moody. You can have a lot of styles. And then you can have different sessions. So you can produce the text for different parts of this digital actor project. You know, for my tutorials for a transcriber, for example, I have a project, transcriber tutorials, and then for each tutorial I have a different session. And for each session you can choose a custom voice, so you can change completely the country, the gender, and the tone. And for each sentence you can choose different styles for the voice. And so you can speak the same sentence 2, 3, n times with different styles and choose the one that suits you. And recently I added a dictionary of the way things must be pronounced. Because sometimes you have nouns, personal nouns, and you want to have a particular accent or something that can be written in one way and spoken in another way. So if you have a product that is pronounced in a very peculiar way, you don't need to change this way of pronunciation in all the sentences. You create this pattern once, and then it is applied everywhere. Let's say you want to talk about Alex Racuglia, that is me. If you try to make an Englishman or an English digital voice actor pronounce Alex Racuglia, it will produce something like Alex Racuglia. And okay, that's okay for me. I'm not so jealous of my surname, but if you can pronounce it better, that's good. Now, if you're asking me when this app will be released, I honestly don't know, because I have to create and instantiate a new business model, because this app uses this service, and this service is a pay-as-you-go. So I cannot use a subscription business model, because I cannot count how much time, how much resources you will need. And so the user pay every time a single sentence is spoken. And it's quite difficult to do this kind of stuff outside the Mac App Store. And I don't want to be in the Mac App Store because of all the limitations and the fact that if you put an app in the Mac App Store, 20 minutes later is already available and cracked in some torrent site. So I'd prefer not to losing money, because if you pay each time a user use your app and then the user don't pay you, then you're losing money. You're paying for the user who cracked your app. So this is something that I have to think about. I don't know when this thing will be released. Okay, maybe I talked too much, as always, and so I'm sorry. Thanks for listening. Please let me know what you think about this in the comments. I would like to receive comments and feedbacks, because each time I read a comment, I learn something new. This is quite good for me. And if you like this kind of content very, very, very much, you can subscribe to this channel, click on the bell and something like this, all the stuff that all the YouTubers do to increase their audience. If you don't do this, that's okay for me. That's all for today. And as always, I say ciao.